Hey
Hi
Nicola, I
Heidi, how are
am
you doing?
outside because it's warm, so I'm the happiest girl in the world right now. How are you?
I'm very jealous. That's how I am because it's very wet here again, and I wish we had some blue sky. But yeah, spring seems to be dragging its heels and keeping us stuck in winter. So yeah, I'm all right though. Apart from that, I've had a nice long Easter weekend, and I've been very busy doing some decorating and so on
Nice.
in the house. So yeah,
Great. Well, what do you
all
want to talk
good.
about today?
Well, this one is one of my favourite topics, and I've seen a couple of things on
Mhm.
this over the past week, and I really like talking about it because I know that so many people struggle with this, but actually, a lot of people don't realise this is what's going on. So, it's
Oh yeah.
emotional
Oh
eating.
yeah. That's a big one. So what's been coming up for you? What have you been seeing in regards to that?
Oh, just so many different conversations around people who are trying to
Hmm.
lose weight or people who are really unhappy with their relationship with food. So it's not always about the weight loss, but about, recognizing that food is something that I want to say
Hmm.
controls their lives. Do you know, like it's a massive part of their life that they're thinking about
Right.
all of the time. And I know because I've been there as well, and I do still struggle, but I have that awareness of it. So yeah, I just think it's something that can really become all encompassing and makes you focus just on your health being about food. And we know that health is obviously so much more. So I think it's really important for people to have awareness of this if they are struggling with this and to get really clear on it because it's a really big topic and
Yeah.
part of your health to tackle, and you need to get on top of it so that you can work on the other elements of your health that are going to probably have a much greater
Yeah.
impact on how you feel. So yeah, what's your
Well, I
experience
mean,
with this?
it's really interesting. I was just talking to a friend and about this like last week because she was going into a really stressful weekend, just kind of like a family situation, and was really worried about getting off track with her eating, and not just for like weight loss, but she's been struggling with like actually some like pre-diabetes and trying to figure out how to navigate that, and she was really worried about the stressful weekend making her kind of go down a bad route because of that emotional eating, because of thinking that we can sort of solve our problems with food, and that sort of um, instant gratification, and I'm going to feel better right now, and valuing that over the long term health consequences of our choices, right? But it also, as you and I talk about all the time, has to be delicately balanced with giving ourselves grace and not trying to be perfectionists. So it's a really interesting topic
Mm,
for me, but I think that I really was thinking about it a lot after I talked to her. The thing that what I feel like we really need to look at when we're making those choices is, am I trying to solve like an emotional problem right now by eating? Because I think, that's when we go, what's a better solution here? I don't want to ignore my feelings. Um, but it's not going to solve my problem to eat this food right now. It's not going to remove my stress, right? It's not going to fix this life situation. So, what's a better solution? Can I go for a walk? Can I drink a glass of water? Can I call a friend? Can I, just go outside and take a few deep breaths? Like, what else can I do here that will actually help with the situation rather than eating this food that I know is not good for me? What do you think about that?
yeah, definitely. And I think there's lots of different dimensions
Yeah.
to this because there's those kind of situations like you've described there where something happens and you're triggered, and all of this is about habits. And actually this was what kind of had got me thinking about it because this week in my social media and on the podcast I'm really focusing
Hmm.
in about habits and habits
Mm.
being your superpower. And this is exactly how habits play out, whether it's, alcohol, smoking, mentally, or verbally internalizing negative thoughts about yourself. Food is just another one of those vices, really, that you're using to try to
Right.
satisfy something. And you've got those situations where something's happened, and maybe you've had a really stressful day at work, and you come home and you just want to open a packet of biscuits, or could be the wine, for example. That's still, I would kind of maybe put it for some people on a par
Sure.
with the emotional eating. But then you've got other things where, or other occasions where you don't even know that it's happening. It's not necessarily something big. You haven't had an argument with someone, or, you know, it's not maybe the time of the month where your emotions are, less balanced. You just eat because that's what you do, and you don't know. And that's what I talk about with habits, is so much of what you do every day in your behavior is coming from your subconscious mind that
Mm,
you're
yeah.
not even aware of. And so you hear people, I actually had this conversation with someone last week, and she talked about being with her family and watching a film and having a stressful day, and how she had a bag of chocolates and she was just eating. She said, and literally I put
Oh
my hand in and
man,
there was
yeah.
no chocolates, and I was going, how's the bag empty? And she's like, and she said, "This, I'll sit and I'll have a cup of tea and a packet of biscuits, and then I look and go, well,
Right.
where did the biscuits go? And she said, I don't know that I'm doing it." And so, sometimes you don't even know that that's how you're reacting to what you're feeling inside. But then there's a third bit to it, which is similar, I guess, to the first one, in that something's happened and then that's the cue for you to choose to respond with food. But it's more of the positive things. So something that was always very much of a trigger for me was
Yeah, true.
celebrating with food. As a family, we grew up celebrate. So something good happens, we get a takeaway. Something good happens, we get chocolate. Something good happens, we go out to a restaurant. And that's another
Yeah.
way that we emotionally eat. So it doesn't always have to be from the negative.
Yeah.
It's that it's a reward. Again, all of those ways we behave is rewards. That's what a habit is, isn't it? So yeah, that's why I just know that so many people do struggle with this. And for me, the age I'm at, perimenopausal, and digging into this more with clients, it becomes a bigger problem
Sure.
at this time of a woman's life, because you don't have the luxury of having as much imbalance. And I don't mean from, having not so healthy foods with healthy foods. I mean as in snacking more regularly, having those, big roller
Yeah.
coaster dips and drops, or peaks and dips, with the types of food you're eating, because your hormones can't
Sure.
regulate as easily as they could have pre that stage of your life. So, yeah, it's something that people struggle with, but can start to really feel a much bigger impact with, if it isn't managed when they get into that
Right.
menopausal type season
I,
of
I
their
mean, I think
life.
what you were saying about habits being your superpower is so powerful. I mean, like definitely the celebration too. Even like giving gifts, right? Like you want to give people chocolates, you want to give people all these sweets that they like, and then a lot of times people are like, "I don't want this. I'm trying to be healthy. Why did you give this to me?" But the habits that you were talking about really, really speaks to me, because I think one of the most powerful things for me in changing my own habits was starting to surround myself with people who had habits that I wanted to develop, you know? And that that's something
Yeah.
sort of that all these other habits, like with eating the whole bag of chocolates, they'll say like, we'll just put it in a bowl first, and then you won't eat the whole bag, you'll only eat what you put in the bowl. But all that takes, like it all takes forethought, which when you're emotional, you don't always have the ability to like think those things through. So for me, starting to surround myself with people who made those positive choices or changes, like just inherently, and observing that and being with them, I sort of like learned to do it through osmosis, you know what I mean? Rather than having to think about, okay, how can I do better now when I'm stressed and I don't want to think about it and everything like that. And so that's been a really powerful thing for me. What would you say is a good tip for dealing with any one of those three things that you just listed? How do you combat those things?
the awareness is the
Right.
first step. It's to acknowledge that that's happening. And so, we've shared that for a lot of people, they don't realize, especially when it's just something in, their daily habits and routines. So try to have awareness. Like if you know that you're snacking a lot, that you're snacking on
Yeah.
unhealthy foods a lot, that you use food reward or a comfort, get intentional about being aware so that your brain's ready to try and spot when it happens, and then just think,
Mm-hmm.
why am I doing this? And I actually did some work personally on
Okay.
this with a coach last year. I knew someone who was doing her coaching certification and needed some guinea pigs, so I volunteered because, as I say, it's something that I grew up with and is a problem with me. And I wanted to get much more clarity on it to help
Sure.
myself, but also to help clients. And so I did this work where I would think, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to get some wine now. I'm thinking I need chocolate because it's a Friday night and the weekend equals
Mm-hmm.
chocolate and wine and treats. And so, asking myself, well, why am I getting this? Do I really need this? From a hunger, a satisfaction point of view, or is it just that it is
Right.
purely a habit and it's ingrained into my brain that it's 7 o'clock, work's over, it's Friday, that's what I do. So yeah, definitely get intentional about becoming aware and
Right.
just be curious, just see when it comes up. Don't berate yourself, don't try to stop it straight away, just start to get curious about
I love
why
that.
it
Yeah.
happens.
So it sounds like we've got a couple solid tips that we're walking away with today. One being the awareness that you just spoke of. Two, not berating
Mhm.
yourself. Three, considering what are your other options? Once you develop that awareness of like, oh gosh, I have this habit that I don't want to have. What else could I do that would be better, right? And then also just trying to surround yourself with people who have the types of habits that you'd kind of like to learn from, and that'll even help you learn what some of those other options are. Like I've been blown away. Just my boyfriend's really great about that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, oh, I never considered that that would be another great stress reliever as opposed to the wine. Um, so yeah, I don't,
What's a good one then? What's a good alternative that you would suggest for someone that they might not have
honestly, I
thought
mean, it's
about?
not always an option, but for the most part, if I get outside and go for a walk for 5 minutes, it changes my whole state of being. It really does. And
Yeah.
it puts space between you and the thing that you feel like you need in that moment. And it gives you enough room to consider without it being there right in front of you. Do I need this right now? No, I don't actually need this right now. So that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And definitely. And I think if, someone's like, oh, I can't always go outside, I'm on my own,
Yeah.
I've got the kids, they're in bed or something. It doing something like you've described there, getting active in some way, even if it's just, oh, I'll go and take, the rubbish outside, or oh, I'll just
Yeah.
go and check that the lights are off, or oh, I'll just go and, maybe wash up or put the dishes away or something. Just that distraction, to break that habit and just kind of go, okay, I've had the cue, but do I need to act
Yep.
in the same way that I usually
Cool.
do? Yeah, that's
Well, I think
brilliant.
this was a great one. I hope a lot of people
Hmm.
connect with it because I know you and I have both had our own journeys with it. So hopefully, yeah,
Well, we're human. That everybody
true
loves
story.
food.
All right,
So yeah,
Nicola. Well, I will see you next Monday. I hope you have a great week ahead and hope you guys get some of this gorgeous
you
sunshine over
too.
there.
Yeah.
See ya.
Fingers
Bye.
crossed. Thanks, Heidi. Bye.